Hello again, everybody. This is a continuation of the series of videos that I planned on doing about color. This one in particular is going to be about choosing a color palette. I have in front of me this sketch that I did, and it's in the same Copic sketchbook from the first video, and it's just it's a simple little sketch, and my plan is to do this drawing using these 6 colors only. And these are colors that I kind of came up with in my head, thinking about the mood and the feeling that I wanted for the drawing. It's supposed to be something like sunset themed, I guess. So what I'm going to try to demonstrate is how you can get a lot out of a little. And you know, there's some techniques you can use with layering and, you know, choosing the colors appropriate for shadows and things like that. So follow along with me, and I'll try to keep it simple. So first up, I have all these colors at the bottom with the names, or well, the color codes. And the first thing I want to do is I want to, I'm gonna color this guy is I guess he's based on me. I'm gonna color this entire character using V01, and it'll basically serve as the base. Now the sky is gonna have this this salmon-like color, and that'll be what gives us the contrast between all of these blues that we have going on here. Just color this guy's the entire shape, really. The entire silhouette is going to be this color. And then I'm going to add a few layers of different colors, and then it'll start to kind of make sense as I separate the forms from each other. So here, over here. I don't have to worry about the hair. The hair is the only part. The hair and the beard and the eyebrows. Those parts are, they'll all be pretty dark, so there's no need to really go in there. But everything else I'm going to cover with this marker. I use this Copic multi-liner, by the way, for the ink. And I actually didn't give it a lot of time to dry, so it's smearing a little bit in some areas, but it's fine. Doesn't really matter for the purposes of this video. I just want to demonstrate a few things. But in the finished piece, where I want it to be a little bit more, I guess, polished, I try to give it more time to dry just to avoid that problem. Doesn't always help, but I try at least. I'm gonna leave that, because that's gonna be dark, so you don't have to worry about that either, as well as this around his shoulder. Okay. The next thing I want to do is the background is going to incorporate this color as well. I won't do it now. I'll put it aside for now and move on to the next color in line. But it's just something I want you guys to be thinking about. So next up, I got B63, and this is the part where you come in and put the second layer. So I needed this V01 down there first, because that gave me the undertone that I was looking for. Because without it, it would look like this. And it's too cool of a color. I want it to be like a little bit of warmth. So I needed something down there for the base. Here once again. All right, so that's all done. And now we can move on to his hair. So I'm gonna use this BB29, which is a really dark grayish purple, or violet rather. And it's not necessarily black, but it's gonna work as our blacks for this drawing. And I'm gonna use it for the hair. I'll use it for the inside portions of like the clothes, and it's gonna help give us some contrast to break up some of these shapes. Color in his beard, and then I'm going to color in the inside of his sleeve there. And because he has like a fade here on the side, I'm going to use another color to blend to create that fade look, and also add a little bit of a bit more depth in some areas. That to the side. Now we're using BB04, and what I want to do on this part is indicate this little fade that he has here on the side. And color the inside of this portion here just to break up some of these shapes a little bit more. I can put a shadow over here. All right, so we're pretty much done with him. And the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna move on to the background. So I mentioned in the beginning I was gonna use V04, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna fill this entire background. Well, all the way down to these bushes here. I'm gonna fill the entire background starting with this, and then I'm gonna go to RV42. And it's kind of gonna give the background a base color or a base coat itself. And then I'm going to add the background elements in. By doing this, I can help push some of these. These are like little mountains, little hills in the background. So by doing it this way, it'll help push these things into the background so they don't clash too much in the foreground. That's my plan, at least. It's starting to dry out a little bit. I can hear it squeaking, but it's okay. We don't really need to worry about refilling it now. I have enough for what I need to do in this video, so I can take care of it later. Right now I just want to get like a rough coat in this background area. All right, that's good enough. Next, I got RV42, and I'm gonna pull upward. The idea being that there's a sunset going on behind these things in the background, and I want that to kind of look like how, you know, when you see a sunset on the horizon. Usually what happens is you see like the light from below, and then as you get closer to the skyline, it gets a little bit darker. So I'm gonna use one of my blue markers for that, my blue violet ones. And I'll save my darkest colors for the foreground, which are the bushes. Come back and try to crossfade the two colors together. Now in truth, I could have went lighter, but I wanted something a little bit more bold. So I thought it would help distinguish these things from the background. Okay, now I'm gonna use, that's the wrong color. I'm gonna go back to B63, which is the color that I use on his face, combined with V01. And just at the top here, now once again, for the last time, I'm going to use my V01 again, and I want to try to blend these colors a bit. Good enough. Now, these mountains that I had here in the background, which you can hardly see, I'm going to go back to B63, and as you can see, it kind of has all of those colors that we put down before. You can see those in it. I'm using the side of the brush tip to kind of get this taper effect going. And sometimes mountains have like mist and fog and things like that towards the base, and I wanted to blend into the background just a little bit. Towards the top, I want it to be a little bit more sharp, and then at the bottom it's like less defined. And do the same thing over here with one mountain. And then I'll work my way down to the bushes and the things in the foreground, all of which will be darker. Okay, that's good enough. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take three colors. I'm going to take BV04, BV08, and BV29. And starting with this one, I'm going to start to indicate this shrubbery or whatever we have here in the background. And these are supposed to be the ones that are like furthest away. So what'll be the lightest in terms of the colors. But it's still darker than these mountains because these mountains are further in the distance. All right, so now I'm gonna take it a step further. I'm gonna use BV08, and we're gonna repeat the same process, but we're gonna take it down a bit further. And this is just designed to create the illusion of depth by having darker objects in the foreground and lighter objects in the background. I actually forgot the color in this. Okay, and last but not least, we got BB29, and this will be the foremost trees in the background. The idea behind this was like a very dense, I guess, like jungle or shrubbery type of thing going on. Keep it as very loose. Since it's a sketchbook drawing, I'm not too concerned with like fine details, and I'm just more important. I'm more focused on trying to create an overall look and feel. In the future, I can probably take some of these ideas and apply them to something else that I have in mind. But for now, it's just a sketchbook drawing. Okay, so there's one more thing that I want to do actually. I'm going to take BV04 again, and just along the bottom, I'm going to do this just to give it more shadow. Okay, and that's it. This is a drawing with 6 colors. Now, the idea behind this is, people ask me a lot, which color should I start out with? Which color should I buy? Do I need this color? Do I need that color? Ideally, I would suggest people start with things like either skin tones or gray tones and things like that, because it gives you, if you buy them in a pack, it gives you a range of values to experiment with. But with other Copic sets, sometimes they give you markers that it may seem as though you can't really do much with them, but in reality, if you think about the markers in terms of you know, things like, oh, maybe I can create a sunset such as this one, or maybe I can create some other type of scenery or something, you start to see that there's more possibilities available to you than you initially realized. And you don't need every marker, which is a thing that some people think you need every marker. You really don't. You can just get a set, you know, a certain number, I guess, that you're comfortable with, whatever you're willing to shell out for, and just work with what you have, you know. And I find it easier to make more creative decisions when I have less colors to choose from. So it kind of gets, I don't know, I think in my opinion gets the brain working a little bit more. And I think it's something that everyone should try out, you know, if you find yourself stumped on trying to choose colors. So I do have some book recommendations. This first book is called A Dictionary of Color Combinations. And I found this on Amazon. It's a small little book, like a paperback, but it's in Japanese. And the whole thing is just color combinations. So it's one of those things that if you find yourself thinking like, what are some good color combinations that I can use? And not even just your art, I guess it can be your fashion, it can be your house. This is a cool little book, I think. It's like, you know, maybe, let's see, like 400 pages or so. 300, no, it's about 300 pages, yeah. So yeah, about 300 pages of things. It's all color combinations, starting with 2, going up to 4. So this is a cool little book. Another one, a lot of people have probably seen this one, Color and Light by James Gurney. And I think this is a must-have book for any serious artist. It has a lot of good information in terms of stuff like the things that I did in this video today. And even if you're not a painter, this is information that you can find and apply to your art in any number of ways. I haven't even finished reading it, but I'm about halfway through it, and it's one of those things that it helps me think about how I approach my color and my art. So that's it for this video, guys. I hope you found this helpful. I'll be back again with another part in this series of videos on color. Until then, you guys take care of yourselves. Peace.